Flight to New York and then back to LA and then to Seattle.
And then, of course, to Russia, to the Hackers. And then it comes to Seattle. And then it goes out to the world. It's Michael Knight in New York. Vinnie, he is Michael Knight, and he is down in beautiful Pasadena, California.
And that's New York Vinnie. My pal, Mr. Richichi, is in Seattle, Washington. And we're watching a lot of the news of the day, including baseball.
Yes, we got baseball. We got Rudy Giuliani flying to Atlanta. Boy, we got stuff going on. We got the Mariners, but listen, everybody's excited about the Mariners, Mikey, and, Rudy Giuliani and Trump and the debate and everything else. But listen, the Mariners have never made the World Series.
No,
we know that. We know the Mariners have not made the World Series. Yet, there is a team from Seattle that has made the World Series, the Little League World Series.
Does it have anything to do with the rocket of Queen Anne, the Queen Anne rocket?
Well, no, I don't. This is a little north of Queen Anne. This is over more by 25th. I forget what street it is, but it's a funny thing when kids could start, and I'm going to bring in our friend Joe Brotherton now, whose grandson is on the team, and I don't know if it was sometime right after the powers that be said, go out and enjoy yourself again. I'm driving up, I forget if it's 25th Avenue or 15th, somewhere over there where there's a Little League field, and I pull over, and I'm just watching for the first time since COVID, kids practicing baseball, like a regular summer, spring thing. They're out there and they got the big field and they're practicing, and the coach is out there hitting them. They're wearing masks, but they got the uniforms on. And I'm looking at them saying, man, maybe life is going to be normal again. Maybe somehow, some way, life is going to get back to being what it's supposed to be. And
that was before you started dating Marjorie Taylor Greene. Remember how?
Maybe before MTG and me got to be.
You remember how that changed your life? About normal.
Yeah, I'm still taking shots for it. But
as you should, take them regularly, Vinnie.
She's got stuff going on, but that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Anyway, so lo and behold, here we are a year. What is it now? 2 years later, a year and a half later, and that same Northeast Seattle Little League finds themselves in the Little League World Series.
It's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
Team from Seattle to go to a World Series. And little do I know that my longtime friend, my tax guy, the guy who keeps me 15 minutes ahead of the IRS, Joe Brotherton. Everybody in Seattle knows Joe Brotherton. He does so many different things, not just in Seattle, but around the world. His grandson, Ryland, is on the team. He's like one of the stars.
Ronald, baby. Come on, baby. Let's go.
So Joe is with us. Ryland's, and I love how he puts Ryland's grandfather. Ryland should be putting Joe's grandson on his thing. I'm sorry, maybe in the World Series, Joe, but I don't think he's attained Brotherton status quite yet. How are you, pal?
Yeah, I'm just proud to know him right now. It's so much fun.
What position does he play?
He's playing left field.
Oh, that's a busy place.
And it should be a quiet place, but in the last inning of the last game, he got the first out and then the third out at the wall, stealing a home run for a walk-off end of the game. And the smile on his face has been on every television in Seattle, I think, just over and over when he's running in with that braces on his teeth and a big grin. And the announcer says, Ryland Jackson, all 92 pounds of him. And that might be soaking wet.
How old is he?
That's the great thing about that. He's 12 years old. See, that's the great thing is these kids are, they're not physically developed yet. They look like kids that be going to the candy store or swimming at the swim pool, hanging out at the mall. Yet they're getting this national attention. And not only is it something for them, but for the parents, the grandparents and everything, because Williamsport is such a special place. I mean, it's really kind of incredible I've been there a bunch of times. I spent 10 years back in Pennsylvania recently, and it's an incredible place, that town.
Yeah, it's really and the scene they have set up for these kids it just, when you get through the regionals and get taken to the World Series, when they finished the regionals in San Bernardino, they actually had a chartered plane for them and the team from California and one other, as I recall, and brought them all directly to Williamsport. And
Wow.
when you left for the regionals, you didn't know if you were going to be on that plane or off that plane. And then everything is set up. When they win a game, they bring them out in a van and they all go as a team together and put up we won another game, move them ahead in the brackets out on the big display there. And they've been interviewed and photographed and having a ton of fun. Cool thing is these kids, they try to put on a little bit of swagger, but they're humble. They're all pinching themselves going, I can't quite believe this is happening to me right now.
How's your pitching, Joe?
The Trey Kirchhoff is just owned the place, and he's not a 80 mile an hour like the kid from Taipei, but he's got a great fastball and curveball, and I can't remember his numbers, but they're phenomenal in terms of strikeouts. But I'll tell you, Vinny, not only have they made the World Series, but they're just owning it right now. They've won 2 in a row, and this is the semifinal today up against Texas, very tough team. They beat New England and Southeast, which was Tennessee. So
they used the mercy rule, I think, on Tennessee, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, this is, to tell you the truth, coming through the regionals, I think they only played 6 innings twice because they were just dominant. They have outscored their opponents something like 94-8 or 10 in the last games.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, they've been killing it. Joe, you've been around teams for a long time. You're a sports guy. You've been around. You know what's going on. What is it about this team that the coaches have done or that the kids have done that have besides winning, obviously, but what brings them together? What is it that these kids know now that maybe they didn't know at the beginning of the season?
Well, the whole format for this Little League World Series is cool because they don't pick one superstar from every team and keep going and filtering it. So they had to form a team months and months ago, and that's the team that keeps going against as they keep winning. So you need a balanced team. There's a new rule in Little League that everybody bats, whether you're playing or not. So if you're sitting on the bench, you still are in the batting lineup, and that's changed the strategy quite a bit. But they're nice kids. They're having so much fun. But when they come out on the field, you see their defense. They're extremely well coached. I got a son-in-law who's one of the coaches, Stosh Jackson, and he used to be a relief pitcher in the Cubby organization, and so he knows the game pretty well. And their head coach, Christian Shuey, is incredible.
How does that work with everybody bats? How many people are in the batting order? 20?
I think they have 11 on their roster, and I think you can have 12. I'm not sure. But basically, yeah, literally everybody bats. You have a continuous order that you have to maintain. So there's you can't have a weak spot in your roster.
I guess not.
Yeah.
Are they having fun? I mean, I know it's serious, but are they having a good time besides just going on the field and playing?
Oh, they're having the time of their lives. It was the joke before this last game against Tennessee was the kids are so excited and so ready. The coaches are a mess.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this? But I'll tell you, Vinny, I was thinking about it. I mean, it's a grandfather thing, but being in that stadium on Monday this week, best sports experience of my life. And I was there when Mary Lou Retton got her gold medal. I was there for Griffey and his big double. The Sonics. I was sitting on the bench in the Sonics games, and those were great moments. But this one, I had tears in my eyes when Ryland made that last catch and came in. So,
yeah, well, I mean, it's such a great thing. I mean, to see your own, not just that it's your town, but the personal connection. To see your grandson down there, to see your son-in-law, who's one of the coaches of the team. I mean, that really hits it in your heart, man. It's nice to cheer, and it'll be wonderful if the Mariners make the World Series. We'll all be jumping up and down. But the reality is when you're connected like that, you fly back there and you go. There's something about that's irreplaceable. It's the best sports moment for you that you'll ever have, and you could see 10 million Muhammad Ali knockouts in your future or something, and nothing will replace that.
Yeah, we weren't really planning to make the trip back. We didn't know if they were going to make it back, so we didn't plan on it. And during the last of the regionals, I get a text from my wife says, if they win this game, get me a ticket right now. So, well, he was very clear about it. We're going to Pennsylvania. So, and we
Did
also
your-
got to drop off a granddaughter. Our oldest granddaughter just started at Villanova. So we get to see her first day of
Wow.
college, and Pennsylvania was where it was all happening.
You have a talented family. Did your grandson always show promise in sports?
He's one of the hardest working young athletes I've seen. He takes it real seriously. He's hard on himself. I talked to him about that. Man, beat up yourself, but then get over it. And like I say, it was seeing that grin as compared to grimace in the past was really wonderful to see.
Now, how's your phone been? Has it been lighting up?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I have it turned off right now so it doesn't disturb this. Everybody's very excited. I got so many friends who are going to be at their television at noon today. So
Yeah, it's really. I mean, the whole city is just really kind of lit up about this team. And again, first time that a team from the Seattle city limits. I mean, it was, of course, Kirkland years ago, and a few other teams that have, kind of gotten into the World Series, but nobody has quite gotten to this point yet from the actual city of Seattle, and that's what's kind of the coolest thing about it, because if you think about the baseball history in this city, it really is that kind of that final piece of tradition that you go back to the Rainiers and Ito Vannie, and I mean all of those, Fred Hutchinson. I mean, go through all of those names, and now these kids
you left out the pilots.
Guys.
You left out the pilots, Vinny, for crying out tears.
Well, I would. Well, yeah. Well, a lot of people leave out the pilots around here. Well, they're a lot better team. More people say nice things about the pilots now than they did back in 1969. I mean, not for nothing, but
of course you're right. Joe, tell me, in the coverage in the Seattle Times, who gets the top story, Little League or the Mariners?
I didn't even read about the Mariners. How are they doing?
Who are the Mariners?
I hear they've been winning some games.
8 in a row. They're showing promise, but as they say in baseball, your potential is going to get me fired.
It's actually early in the regionals. I wrote a note to the Seattle Times because they had no mentions of our kids getting that far, just to get started. And then, but the next day was right when they just started rolling, and the coverage has been great all over since then. So.
Did they send somebody back there to cover them?
I couldn't tell. That the coverage is so great that you can write a great report just watching the game at home. So
yeah, believe me, we fake it like that all the time. I mean, that's when we 20 years ago, you actually had to go to the game. Now you can just sit in your living room, drink a beer, and write the story. Joe, it's good. Hey, now I just want to quickly before we let you go, Joe. I just want to mention something else, because as you I'm sure know, I was an election official back in Pennsylvania. I actually was a commissioner of elections in Pittsburgh, and also here I was a PCO. I'm very involved with voting, and I just read this morning on your post that you have come up with a machine that enables disabled people, blind, people that might not have access to voting, to vote. And I just got to just talk about that just for a second, cause really,
I'm the chairman of the board of a company called Democracy Live, based here in the Northwest, and it's not just disabled. We started off actually providing overseas military with ballots because they weren't able to vote because they couldn't get their ballots quickly enough. And we set a goal about 10 years ago to revolutionize the way voting is done in America, make it safer, more transparent, more accessible and secure. And we're kicking right now. It's amazing. Great company. Very proud of the whole team. Thank you for suggesting the mention. I appreciate it.
Well, next to baseball, voting is probably about the most American thing you can do. Or it might be the other way around. I don't know. And in this time of when people really want to try to stifle people's votes, it's nice to see somebody doing something to enable more people to have a vote and to say in keeping democracy going. It's really a special thing.
Yeah, I expect when I look back, this will be one of the things I'll be proudest of having been involved with. It's really, we're doing some pretty good work there. So
there's nothing more powerful than the result of a vote.
Yeah, and having people have confidence that it was fair, accurately counted, transparent, and we've got technology that'll actually allow you to confirm that your vote, as you voted it, was the one that was counted, which has never existed in the past. So.
Oh, I thought Mike Lindell had that. Hey, Joe.
He had the instructions, but he kept it under his pillow, and
he kept it
lost
under his pillow. I knew we were
and
going there.
He has not seen it since.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me, Vinnie, and nice to meet you, Michael. I thought you were going to be saying something about Dobey, Vinnie.
Well, you haven't had me up there yet. How can I talk about it if you don't have me up?
Okay.
How is Dobey doing? How's everything going up there?
It's the most beautiful place in the world. I'm heading up there hopefully in the next day or so for the rest of the summer if I can get away. So it's
fill me in.
So Michael, Dobey is, we bought an old hippie resort about 20 years ago, and now it's kind of a new hippie resort. And it's up on San Juan Island, or in the San Juan Islands on Orcas Island, about an hour north of Seattle.
Oh yes.
And it's another one of my hobbies that's really become a lifestyle thing. So it's great. So
remember one of my mottos is hippies win.
Do you have internet up there, Joe?
Yeah. Well, what are you asking? You still use AOL, so
yeah, I know. what I'm thinking is, maybe we should do a show or two from Dobey. Maybe we should get up there and do something.
I thought your follow-up question was going to be, you have internet up there? What is internet, by the way?
Hey, listen, that AOL has lasted me for 3 wives, pal.
Anyway, yeah, you could do a show from up there. We have really strong internet because we have these techno guys, geeks in the woods, that come up and do big hacking conventions on the property, and they all sleep in tents and come in. So we had to set up a killer internet web for them. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Joe, it's good to see you, man. I will talk to you. I'll talk to you soon, pal. Good luck today. Tell Rylan that we're all rooting for him.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, pal. Take care. My good friend Joe Brotherton from Joe Brotherton Companies. I mean, he's got his fingers. Joe is a Renaissance guy.
He does a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Right. He also does. I don't want to embarrass him, but he also goes up to the jail in Monroe all the time and talks to prisoners and tries to get them, straightened out a little bit. He spent years doing that. I mean, he started doing that when I first met him, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago.
Wow.
I mean, he's really a good guy and a guy that, you want, you just,
you
just
the best
feel
for a guy like that.
Yeah, you feel good about knowing a guy like that. So anyway, I
got a story for you. Well, that's a good way to begin the show. Congratulations to Joe and his family, and the excitement that they're going through right now really can't be described. To live Little League World Series is something that probably cannot be described. It cannot be. It can be experienced, but pretty hard to put into words what that whole family is going through right now. It's really great. Yeah. I have a little announcement to make.
I was going to ask you, but I want you to make the announcement.
My 4-year-old grandson, Bradley Knight Musha, has been declared cancer-free and has finished his chemo and radiation at Children's Hospital in Los Angeles and Hollywood. He rang the bell. He'd walked the gauntlet of the nurses who had treated him and the doctors who had given him the best treatment. Standing ovation. They gave him a lightsaber, which was he couldn't believe that. He kept reaching for that more than he didn't want to ring the bell. He wanted the damn lightsaber. Just give me the lightsaber. Well, so at the age of 4, this kid has been through more medical treatments and surgeries and treatments and ongoing scans and tests than anybody should at that age. And the wonderful thing about it is his sense of humor, his amazing spirit. Never down, never off. He would finish his chemo, barf, and go downstairs and play with his sister. It was one of the most amazing 8 months that we've ever had. A lot of scares, a lot of false starts, a lot of down days. But his parents, Kailani and Steve, and his sister Kennedy Quinn, pull him through, and he's only got one more surgery. His surgery is to take out the port that they install in your chest where they pour the poison into you to kill the cancer.
Yeah.
That'll be the last step.
He's a brave little boy, a brave young man, I should say. And I didn't have a bell, Michael, but I did the next best thing. Okay.
Beautiful. Tambourine is all the better.
There we go.
So that was a big family celebration yesterday. It was his last
Okay.
day at Children's Hospital, and it was a big day and a big achievement. And all he cared about was the lightsaber. He didn't put it down the whole damn day.
It's great to be a kid.
It's great to be poor.
It's great to be a kid.
It is.
You know, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, because you don't, you get to our age, you get cynical about everything. You're that age, and you go through something like that. You just go and do it, right? You do what
exactly.
Your parents say, hey, you got to be at the doctor at 10 o'clock, and they're going to put something in you, and you cry a little bit, and you scream, and then you go, right?
You hit the road, do your job.
Yeah, there's no thinking about it. There's no oh my God, I'm this, I'm that, I'm poor me, poor this, poor that. It really becomes kind of your life.
It is. You know where to go, and you know where the nurses go. You know what the doctors do. Funny thing, he had the other day he had a toy stethoscope, and I said, "Are you listening to your rabbit's heart?" And he said, "Nope. That's what they do to me. I'm not going to do it to him." I thought,
man.
wow, what an adult statement to make when you're only 4 years old.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Well, let's see. You want to talk about the Mariners a little bit, because they have been somewhat successful over the past little.
What do I say about baseball? If you don't hit the damn ball, I'll find someone who will. Well, the Mariners found out how to win, and it always gets down to the simple parts of baseball, Vinny. Hit the damn ball, and if you don't, I'll get someone who will.
Well, the interesting thing about the Mariners, Michael, is that as much as they did last year, they traded away a key piece of their team. And in trading away a key piece of their team, they got a few little pieces that they needed to make to get a little more offense, to get a little more spark on the team.
I wonder if they knew that.
Well, if you do it once, maybe it's maybe you got lucky, right? But you do it twice, you do it 3 times, then maybe you got something, right? Maybe Jerry DePoto and Scott Service and everybody else there in the baseball department knows what they're doing. I mean, they let go of a popular guy, but
How come you think?
But they certainly had a number of people who either in the minor leagues or on that team, or that they brought in. This kid Canzone is, and don't forget that they've been doing all of this without their, the guy that was supposed to be kind of their second guy, which is Kelenic, Jared Kelenic. I mean, Julio Rodriguez has been spectacular. He had stomach flu yesterday, so he didn't play, but they still won. And they're going to go for their 9th win tonight. It'll be a great doubleheader, because at noon, you can watch, I don't know. No, it's actually 2 p.m. ET, so you'll be able to watch the College World, the Little League World Series. Then you'll be able to, go get go watch the Mariners. But the Mariners seem to have found a combination that reminds you a little bit of 95. Look, this kid, J-Rod, I hate that J-Rod. Julio is Ken Griffey Jr. He is that guy, except that this guy has fun playing the game. See, Junior played the game as good as anybody ever played it, but was kind of that tortured individual inside.
Yeah, you never could get free of it.
Never could get free of it. This guy, and again, I'm not in the clubhouse every day, but it sure feels to me like this guy is just loving it, man. He's got
Well, you know, Vinny,
no encumbrance.
I only see the highlights. I don't see the whole games. Probably haven't seen a Mariner game in LA in I don't know how long. But what I like about the team is they seem spirited, kind of cocky, full of themselves, excited to be on the field, involved with the minutia of the game, relating to one another. There's teamwork there. And that kind of excitement is the excitement that I see with the Orioles and the excitement that I see with the Braves and to some extent the Dodgers, though I hate to give them credit for anything. And that's what you need. You talk about playing the game and enjoying it. There has to be that factor. And nothing makes you enjoy the game of baseball better than winning. And 8 in a row, 9 in a row, that's the kind of winning streak you have to put together, maybe more than one, as the wild card now is taking shape.
Well, not just the wild card, but I mean, they have pulled themselves to within one game of first place in the division. And it's eerily reminiscent of 95. Remember Jay Buhner in 95, screw the wild card, we want the division. You kind of got that same thing going on here. And it's just, and you're right, there's they just, there's some teams that don't know that they're supposed to lose. There's some teams that go out there every day and they just think they're supposed to win every game. And all of a sudden, the Mariners have become that team with a bunch of guys that maybe you don't really know that well.
Right.
Cal Raleigh, the catcher. You got Andres Munoz who gets the save. I think I don't think anybody knew who Andres Munoz was 4 weeks ago. He was, a guy in a bullpen somewhere. Now all of a sudden, he's doing what the closer that they traded to get the spark that they needed on this club, he's now doing it. I've said this before about Scott Service. He is a guy, reminds me of Piniella in the fact, and many great managers, not just Lou Piniella, that knows how to, Tony La Russa, guys that know how to hit the right string, hit the right button at the right time. And that's what it seems that that Scott Service is able to do.
And in a way, he's earned his stripes because he's had some years that weren't that exciting. The team stayed with him. He stayed with them. He maintained his leadership in the clubhouse, and they put together a team in spite of all the comings and goings in the American League West, which is an interchangeable place. Look at the Angels. You know what the Angels are going through right now? The Angels are going through an investigation, a statewide investigation of the sale of the team that was fixed with the city council for $1 million payoff. They were going to give one guy $1 million to manage the sale of the team on behalf of the Angels and the city, and they were going to pull this off with a little backdoor payment to the man who was going to manage the transaction. And it was so flimsy and out front that they have the written, the LA Times has the emails and the full investigation on this guy and the team and the owner. And this is the team that wants to keep Shohei Ohtani? I don't think so.
No, I don't. Well, again, things that go on off the field, if there's one thing I've learned, because don't forget, we had the situation up here with the Mariners for how many years that you didn't know that they were going to play here next year.
Right.
And they still seem to be able to. I don't know how that stuff affects players on the field, to be honest. Now, I think it's probably more of an effect on the Angels that they got Mike Trout back than some council person. It just, in my experience, and I think every team is different, but that kind of stuff that goes on at the front office level,
right,
never usually gets down to the players on the field, except when it involves a player or a manager. Like I remember, I don't know how many years ago, it was at one point where, Lou got a letter from somebody in the Mariners high up that he should stop talking to the press about wanting another hitter, yada, yada, yada. And that affected the team. But the movement of the team, I don't know. I don't know if that affects him. The Angels just seem like they suck this year. They got a couple of great players, but everybody else on the team just seems lost. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong, and it's been that way for a generation. But to have Artie Moreno and the city council member hand in glove for $1 million payoff deal is just so petty, just so stupid. And they didn't sell the team, and they didn't do the deal, and they didn't pay the $1 million. They just made a terrible mess of things by plotting it. Now, who wants that team?
Well, somebody will buy them because they're in a great market, and somebody will come along that will want that team. I guess it's is Moreno going to sell the team? It sounds like, according to what you're saying, he's going to have to he's going to have to sell that team.
Well, that's what but the posturing he made toward Ohtani and to Mike Trout and to the rest of the team was, we're going to win the division. I'm committed. I'm financially fixed now. We're not going to sell the team. I thought I was, but I'm not. I thought I was leaving, but I ain't. I'm staying. I'm your man until next week.
How do you know a baseball owner's how do you know a baseball owner's lying to you?
He's talking to you.
His lips are moving.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You gonna watch the debate tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting.
There's so many who they. Who are these guys?
I think this is gonna be fascinating. It's look at this.
What happened?
Hang on a second. Here's a little breaking news for you. Yevgeny Prigozhin. Remember him?
Is he dead? Did he wake up dead?
He's that guy that runs the Wagner Group, and they're not musicians.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to the New York Times, he was on the passenger roster of a private jet that crashed north of Moscow on Wednesday, killing
I don't believe it.
all 10 people aboard.
Hard to believe, Vinnie. That would never happen.
Could you imagine that?
That was the day after he surfaced in Belarus with his uniform and his helmet and everything. He packed his bag, got on the jet, and adios, out go the lights.
I got to admit that Putin's getting unimaginative. I would have thought that he just would have fed him something.
The plane, like polonium. He likes that.
Why waste a jet like that?
Put it in his tea. He doesn't drink tea. Put it in his milk.
He doesn't drink milk.
He's
lactose intolerant.
Put him in the jet. That's okay. Bring it down.
Hey, as well as I know, it was just a matter of time.
Who were the unlucky 10 people who were traveling with him? They must have all been on some list.
Probably his family.
Better to go that way.
Well, I kind of liked the guy. He reminded me of Boris Badenov. Remember the character in Rocky and Bullwinkle?
He's a Russian spy.
I am chief of Union, Chapter 13, villains, scoundrels.
And did he crash in Russia, or did the plane go down in Slovakia?
I think it might have gone. Well, it's north of Moscow. Slovakia is north of Moscow. It's also south of Moscow.
Putin said, "I don't want anybody hurt when this plane goes down, except the people on it."
Put it
in a forest, a nice Russian forest.
Put it into a mountain. Yes. So I'm sure that, and you know what? You know who that's going to piss off more than anybody?
I can't think. Who?
Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
Because Trump is thinking tonight, oh, I'm gonna upstage all of these people at the debate. I'm gonna do this thing with Tucker Carlson, and everybody's gonna be watching me. Now the lead story on the news has got to be Prigozhin, right?
And what about Donald Trump? This idea that he has this big evening. It's a time to shine. It's a time to get his message across and rally his support. And he pre-tapes it 3 days ago.
Yeah. Because he's a schmuck.
Because he's a schmuck.
Because he's a schmuck.
Somehow I forgot that.
Yeah, he's a schmuck. I mean, if he had any nads at all, he would have done it live right up against the debate.
Exactly. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. You do it live. You say, I'm going to do this right up against these guys. Not tape. He tapes it so he can sit there and watch himself.
Well, Tucker Carlson's the reason. He said, I have time on Tuesday to do it. We'll run it on Thursday, but I have tennis. I have dinner with Biff Jiggerman. I have drinks with the boys. I got to get a new apartment for my girlfriend. I just have, this is the only time I can squeeze you in, Donald.
Tucker is, Tucker,
Tucker's the reason we have Spopakia, remember?
Yes. If it wasn't for Tucker, there'd be no Spopakia. So we have to thank God for that, don't we?
Planes go down to Spopakia every day. No one thinks anything of it. It's just another plane pulling out.
That's kind of how they land, because the Spopakians, see, they have this little thing that they don't put wheels on their planes.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they have anything? What about skis? Something? Nothing?
Nothing. They say, listen, that's what we got the treetops for. Just come in on the treetops.
Come in. How do you land this thing? Well, first come in low.
Oh, my God, Mikey. If you had, let's see, what's today? If you had August 23rd in the pool, Prigozhin, collect your money.
You know what set this off? Yesterday, he made an appearance. He was standing in the field wearing his uniform in Belarus, spouting off about the Russian army and how things were going to be, and it was all better now. And don't worry about me. I got a great thing. The Wagner Group is steady. We're ready to organize. We're on our best behavior. We're going to make a difference in the world. Whoop! I gotta go. I gotta catch my flight.
Yeah.
We're going to Slovakia and visit the munitions factory there. And then I'll be back tomorrow and we'll have another nice chat.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's
what was his first name? Evgeny?
Isn't he got the same first name as the president of Ukraine?
Yeah.
No, he's Vladimir. That's right. Yevgeny. Why? Who? Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I had a train of thought there.
I'm pretty sure that's his first name. Was his first name?
Yeah. Private jet crashed north of Moscow. Yevgeny Prigozhin. It says here now the fate of the Wagner mercenary leader is not yet known. Michael, I got a break for 1 second. Okay,
right.
Tap dance for me. I'll be right back.
Today we're going to discuss the career of Trini Lopez. What the heck happened to Trini Lopez? He had this most amazing. The reason I like Trini Lopez had nothing to do with the fact that he sang like Peter Palmieri songs with a beat. It had to do with his guitar. It was a Gibson Trini Lopez with diamond F holes instead of an F-shaped hole. Hollow body Gibson, double pickup, sunburst, and sharp curves to the cutaways. And he played that thing like a rhythm guitar. He was a stellar rhythm guitarist. He wasn't in the ventures or anything, but he knew how to play his guitar, and he knew his bar chords, and he knew how to play If I Had a Hammer. But it was the damn guitar that that absolutely entranced me. I was entranced by it because nobody else had one like that. In fact, if you look around, you're not going to see very many Trini Lopez guitars anywhere. And first of all, not in collections or in shops where they sell older guitars, but the fact that it was a distinctive guitar that didn't catch on with anybody else. Nobody else played a hollow body. You know who plays hollow body Gibsons? Is Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters. And you won't see many hard rockers with a hollow body guitar with the double pickups because of the feedback possibilities. But Dave Grohl doesn't allow feedback because he keeps his right hand muted at the bridge. Now, the one comparison that you can make between Dave Grohl's hollow body Gibson and Trini Lopez is the F-holes. They're sharp diamond shape instead of the curved F-hole like you would see on a violin. And that makes it visually distinctive and all the more interesting if you're a guitar freak. And guitar freaks can only tell you one thing. They need another guitar. Which one? Well, there's a long list probably. But on that list will be hollow bodies, solid bodies, cutaways, acoustics, maybe a 12-string. I personally love 12 strings. Electric 12 strings are more interesting to me than acoustic 12 strings, although an acoustic, the new Fender, I get an email from Fender every day about midday around noon. And yesterday's included their new lineup of acoustic guitars, which have the classic Fender stock head. The old Fender acoustic guitars used to have the for 6 strings, had 3 strings on the side on the headstock, just like most guitars. Now they have the Fender headstock with all 6 strings on the left side. Beautiful, well done. And they're named after beaches in California, the Malibu, the Redondo, and one of them is a 12-string. And that really caught my eye. The 12-string tuned in precision is one of the most beautiful sounds that the guitar can make. And the Trini Lopez probably had one. He didn't play it on the stand. In fact, you know what he did that was so interesting? He had a drummer and bass band that played with him, and they were quite a little unit. They were, even when he played Vegas, it was just the 3 of them. No string section, no orchestra, no Nelson Riddle, just a trio that worked hard at their rhythm. And that was the part of the probably the mystique of Trini Lopez and his guitar, was the fact that they really did play a rhythm-based folk music style that hasn't been duplicated by anybody. Nobody's touched it. Nobody's gone back to that. Nobody's revisited that spot in pop music. Not that I'm encouraging anybody to redo Peter, Paul, and Mary songs right now in the hope of getting a hit. But how about a Johnny Rivers song revisited in that vein? And that's only one example. But I give you his career because it's something to reflect on, because he's gone now. Trini's gone from us, but his guitars are still around and they're collector's items. And the approach that he took to music was unique to itself. He was a Latin kid playing folk music on an electric guitar that was his own design and own.
And also, might I say, a very, very good actor.
Really? Oh yeah, he did.
Was in the Dirty Dozen.
He was in the Damn Dirty Dozen, and he was a
valuable
member.
Dirty Dozen, and I'm forgetting what else. I want to say that he had his own summer. Remember when they used to have summer replacement shows?
That's right.
And I'm thinking that Trini had a summer replacement show, but he was. Oh man, what was the? But he was in a bunch. I mean, he was in. He was in the Dirty Dozen. He was in one of those farce movies, like Boeing, and remember all of those movies,
Sure.
the Tony Randall, Tony Curtis, Tony, some guy named Tony had to be in the. I guess they couldn't get a Tony that day, so they got him a Trini. But and he was in the Dirty Dozen. I guess that was his biggest part.
And have you ever heard of another Trini anywhere in the world?
My neighbor's wife's name was Trini.
Ah, okay. I rest my case.
My neighbor Carlos over in West Seattle, his wife's name was Trini. But no, I don't know. I don't know that there's a lot of Trinis around.
Jazz guitarist Kenny Burrell had a guitar like Trini Lopez with the sharp cutaways and with the really sharp horns, and he played that distinctively for many years. And a great studio man around LA, and also a very dependable jazz guitarist. So his guitar was thicker than Trini's. Trini had a thin line and hollow body.
Oh, I always liked Trini. Always liked, I mean, I loved, obviously, as I had a hammer. If I had a hammer, it's covered to Pete Seeger. But I thought it was really good in the Dirty Dozen. I thought that was a spectacular.
And it was good casting. He belonged in that movie.
Yeah. Well, he was think about it. He was at the top of his game at that point. I mean, that was, 65, 60, 67.
And I think that was a hit for Reprise Records. Am I right?
I believe it was Reprise, yes, if I'm not mistaken. Matter of fact, I had the original 45 of that.
I had the original LP.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what was on the other side of that. Because there was a pretty good song on the other side of it, too. And I can't remember off the top of my head. But so now you were talking about his guitars. Are his guitars going up for sale?
Well, his guitars are collector's items because he had his own line of Gibson guitars. And they were distinctive in their color and their design and their F-holes, and not a lot of guys at that time were playing hollow body guitars, electric guitars. They were playing the thin line, solid body guitars.
Now, did you ever get a chance to meet him when you were working in Palm Springs? Because that was where he lived. That was his home. That's where he lived.
Never did. No.
Because there's a great documentary. I think it's on Prime, if I'm not mistaken, called Frank Sinatra in Palm Springs. And they take you around to all the places that Sinatra used to go, the restaurants and everything.
He was the king.
He was the king, and they do a pretty extensive interview with Trini Lopez.
Did he and Frank get close?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess him and Frank were pretty close. Or it was at least part of that, part of that group that, Frank and Dean Martin and I forget who else was out there, but
well, Bob Hope, every street's named after him.
Yeah, and Annenberg, and all of that.
Yeah,
that whole group.
And if it was a good night, they'd bring over Henry Kissinger.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the, one of the great Sinatra stories, of course, is the one where Kennedy was supposed to stay at his house in Palm Springs. And at the last minute, they told Sinatra had alterations done to the place. They had all sorts of, a new suite put in and everything for Kennedy. And, a couple hours before Kennedy's supposed to get there, they call him up and say, he ain't coming.
Can't be seen with you, Frank.
Can't be seen because I guess they had tied, that was at the point where they had tied Frank to, maybe it was Sam Giancana. And I know it was
Chicago,
not long after Marilyn Monroe had passed away. And there was a whole, and I know that Judith Exner somehow was in that whole deal.
Always.
So I don't know the whole thing, but it wasn't.
Judith, we got to talk. Make us some tuna fish sandwiches with potato chips, okay?
Yeah. Make us some sandwiches with potato chips. We'll be in the room watching the USC game.
Yeah. I never liked baseball until Arnold Rothstein fixed the 1919 World Series. Then I was interested.
It's about time I watched The Godfathers again. Well, I'm saving it actually, because believe it or not, my daughter has never seen The Godfather.
What?
I know. So I've made her a promise that between now and my birthday, which is in a couple of weeks, that she'll come over and we'll make a nice Italian meal. We'll make some veal scallopini or something like that, and we'll sit and we'll watch The Godfather.
Because the first Godfather especially makes you so damn hungry for Italian food. If you don't have any, you'll be sorry. And a tuna fish sandwich with potato chips won't do. You need real Italian food.
And of course, you know, the question I know she's going to ask me is, how come you don't put sugar in your tomato sauce, in your gravy? How come you don't put sugar in your gravy like Richard Castellano does?
Not as much as Castellano, but a little sugar couldn't hurt.
A little sugar is okay. I'm not big on putting the sugar in the gravy. I'm not a big sugar in the gravy guy. I know that some people have put it. My Aunt Millie used to put a ton of sugar in the damn thing. She had those Domino 5-pound sacks.
Yeah.
And she used to pour half the thing in there. I mean, you'd get diabetes just from looking at the sauce.
See, I'm more concerned with getting the sausages right. Let's get them cooked properly so they can simmer in the sauce.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's why you start the gravy on Friday night. Any good Italian will tell you that Friday night, and the other reason you used to start the gravy on Friday night is because you couldn't eat meat on Friday. So nobody was going to be sticking their hands in the pot. And, you know, you go there Sunday morning and there's one sausage and a half of meatball left.
What the heck happened to my extravaganza?
What happened to my brajol?
Come here, Mikey. Let me show you how to cook for guys, how to cook for a bunch of men.
Where the hell did my brajol go?
You put in your peppers, you put in your sausages. He made it sound so easy.
Oh, my God. So is Rudy, let's see, is Rudy in jail yet?
He's surrendering today. Well, actually, he wants to talk. He wants to get together and have a little a jaw session. He wants to make an offer that's going to save his neck.
Yeah, he's going to flip.
Like the guy in the Mar-a-Lago case flipped. He got himself a new lawyer and changed his whole story. I know I said that, and I know I testified, and I know I was under oath. I just want to change all that.
He's doing a full Pentangeli.
Yep.
I don't know. The FBI guys, they said Michael Corleone this, Michael Corleone that. So I say, damn, what the hell? Whatever you want to say.
Look at my shoulders. They're going up. They're going up. They're going way up here. They're going by my ears. That's all I know.
There's a Michael Corleone did this. Michael Corleone did that. What do I know? I say, yeah. You want to give me a deal? You give me a deal.
With the cigar and his sleeves rolled up, it's beautiful.
Those were the days, Tom.
Yeah.
We had the world. We had it all, Tom, you know.
By the tail.
Oh my God.
And then Michael had to get on that private jet outside of Moscow. We haven't seen him in a while.
We haven't seen you won't see you. Hey, you won't see Evgeny anymore.
Evgeny, you're right. What was it? Where's he been? He ain't around.
Yeah, you won't see him anymore. That's pretty amazing. I got to tell you something that's pretty funny to me. I don't know. Maybe you're going to tell me this is racist. Okay, but I'm going to say it anyway. Maybe you're going to tell me. But the Indians, the real Indians, the ones in India, landed a spacecraft on the moon.
They did. They absolutely did.
The Chandrayaan-3 mission, the first country to reach the lunar South Polar region in one piece, adds to the achievement of its space program. Now, that's all well and good. But I saw my first picture this morning of the spacecraft.
Yeah.
And it's the same color as the gypsy cabs in New York.
So when you
which
think
are
you're going,
driven predominantly by Indian guys.
you think you're going to the moon. Oh, you're going to the moon, all right.
You're going to the Bronx Zoo. I I don't think that's racist. I looked at this thing and it's that lime green color that they paint.
Yeah.
You know, not the medallion cabs, but
No,
the registered gypsy cabs.
the freelancers.
Yeah, the freelancers, the cabs that go to the neighborhoods that the yellow cabs don't want to go to.
Like
I'm
you
not
like in,
saying. I'm just saying.
just saying. Well, there they are. They're on the moon, and no other country that worships the divinity of the cattle has ever put a man on the moon or an instrument of man's technology on the moon. India's got the intelligence and the wherewithal and the technological advancement to be in the space race while still keeping part of their country firmly rooted in the 12th century.
Well, yeah. I mean, you go to.
And they are the most populous nation on the planet now. They passed China, if you can believe it.
Oh yeah,
And
I
they don't
think
have they don't have the room that China has. If they had the room that China has, there'd be no end to the Indian experiment.
they don't have the room that China has yet. You know what's going to happen there eventually.
Well, they're going to lose their top man. You know, he missed a big meeting this week. He was supposed to gather at a meeting of India, China, a number of groups who are all going to get together to discuss their economic adventures.
You mean
And,
Xi?
yeah, Xing didn't
Oh
show.
no, he's down in South Africa. He made it.
He came
I think I think I saw a thing where he was there.
because this morning I got the notification that he didn't show up and hadn't notified anyone as to his whereabouts.
Yeah, I think I saw a clip.
Their economic stall is a serious one. Their unemployment for young people is extraordinary, 20%, and their future economic success, based on the growth that they've experienced in the last 10 years, is not there. And it's really weird. It's as if they were falsifying their figures, lying to themselves about how successful they were, and then it came time to pay the rent, and they couldn't do it.
What is the let's see. What I'm just trying to see the date. Um of that of Prigozhin's uprising was June something, right?
When he drove the M4 to
Yeah.
Moscow,
Yeah, when he was driving up the highway to Moscow and then decided to turn around.
gave him a couple months to think about it.
Yeah, it was June. Yeah. Because I was just trying to see what date you would, what number you would have in the pool.
You know, I passed up that pool. Damn it, I shouldn't have.
I should have jumped on that pool too. Oh man, Mikey, it's been a lively morning, hasn't it? Is there
Been a great
anything that
morning.
anything we haven't covered? You know, there was something that was sticking in my mind, and for some reason, I can't. There was one other thing that I had that I can't now. What would they have? Active shooting situation unfolding in Pittsburgh neighborhood. Yeah, we don't even talk about those anymore, do we?
What neighborhood?
It it's I know it's off of Penn Avenue. Um, I can't remember the name of the neighborhood, but it's right by the cemetery. It's right by Children's Hospital, about 2 blocks away from Children's Hospital. There, as a matter of fact, Children's Hospital I think is on lockdown.
Might have something to do with a patient or.
No. It's just the sheriff went to evict somebody.
They didn't want to go.
In out of an apartment, and I guess they la, 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 la. They went there, and the guy started. broke the door open, and whoever was in the apartment started firing at him with an automatic weapon.
It happens, you know.
Yeah, it's always good. You know, it's gonna screw you up. So anyway,
Well, what do you say we get together for a Freaky Friday?
you know, I think we got to do that. I think we got to do that. I think we
This
yes.
has turned out to be a true wacky Wednesday with Pogosian going down right in the middle of the show.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, we started off talking about the World Series, the World Series, and then getting to the World Series,
Go
and
Seattle.
then we worked right into Prigozhin going down on a plane.
By the way, the kid we brought up to pitch availed himself pretty well, but he didn't win, he didn't lose. But the Giants did lose 4-3 to the Phillies, so it was not the debut that they had in mind.
Yeah, we got to get we got to get the Giants. I mean, they're how far out are they in the wild card?
Well, they're 12 and a half games out of first place. They're third or fourth on the wild card.
So it's not too late for them.
It's not too late. They just got to win 9 in a row like you know who.
Yeah. Who? Oh, yes, the Mariners.
Yeah, the Mariners.
Hey, it could be worse, man. You could be the Mets.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
You know, somebody wrote an interesting article about that the other day, and I think they were exactly right. It hadn't occurred to me, but the Mets were built wrong for the rule changes.
Ah,
That in essence, having Verlander and Scherzer were the two wrong guys to have.
because they like to take their time.
Because they like to take their time. And you needed pitchers that knew how to go quick. Now, I don't know if that is the only reason. I mean, I think there's other stuff going on.
And it's pretty hard for a veteran to make that kind of an adjustment.
Yeah, but when you got your 1 and 2, although Verlander's pitching good for the Astros. I mean, he got into a little argument last night with Alex Cora, but still, I don't know. Interesting stuff, man. Well, it's going to be the home stretch. We're coming into the last week of August. Then it's September, and then it's the playoffs.
Word to the wise: stay off private planes for the time being, and that goes for all of Rudy's friends too, and all the people who are ready to testify in Mar-a-Lago and in Atlanta.
I was surprised that Rudy took a private plane down to Atlanta. Where the hell did he get the money for that?
Somebody gave him a favor.
Yeah. Bernard Kerrick's involved in that thing, and he's got his hands in everybody's pocket.
He's connected in strange ways.
All right, good show today, man. I will catch up with you Friday if the Lord's willing. The creek don't rise.
Just make it freaky, no matter what you do.
We'll freak it out. I'm sure that we'll have good news, lots of good news for you. Good news for Vladimir Putin.
There's a place at the table if anybody wants to play with Putin.
Yeah, he'll get you one way or another, man. All right, man. I'll catch up with you on Friday. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. See you, Vinnie.
All right, see you, Mikey. And thank you all for listening, too. We'll catch up with you on Friday. Good show today. And thanks, of course, to Joe Brotherton for joining us as well. And go Northeast Seattle Little League, baby. Right on.